We're back out in the shop. We've got that cold weather. We had that cold weather. It's warm. I mean, it might be 20 degrees out now, maybe 18. But man, we had a pretty big cold snap. I finally got the shop up to 46. Just turned 46. So I've been heating it up with. I got my Big Buddy heater, a kerosene heater for probably close to an hour and a half just to get it to be able to stand out here without gloves and whatnot. So I don't have any new progress, so to speak, but I know I've been getting some questions on my belt setup, my pulley setup, clutch setup, however you want to talk about it. And I've been meaning to do kind of a walk around, what I've done to it. Anyway, you see the Charlie horses in the background. So my plan is to kind of dissect this a little bit. We'll do a surface walk around, the stuff I can point at. Then I'm going to yank the hood off it. We can talk about the motor and things of that nature that we can see. And then I'm actually going to pull a right-hand footboard and that rear wheel off, and I'm going to fill my whole clutch setup. My clutch setup originally was not my lone idea. Obviously, Creepy Crawler came up with a pretty sweet clutch system. So well before I had met him and ridden with him, I've ridden with him a bunch now, but well before that, I hadn't talked to him or anything, and I just basically scoured videos and things that they were all in, and I pieced it together on and actually got accepted to a couple groups and things where people would ask him and he would post a quick picture or something to that effect, and I actually pieced together how he had his going, and I built mine originally off of that. Since then, I have kind of upgraded it. I would say changed it, upgraded, however you want to look at it. Mine works sweet. It works primo. It's nice on the foot. The spring tension is perfect. Belt size is perfect. So it's been about, 11 different versions from when I first built it. The modified clutch system versus a stock type of clutch system, and you'll see what I'm talking about once we get into it. So that's where we're headed. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick walk around. Get the camera here. Okay. Let me turn this other light on. There we go. So everybody, maybe you don't, but the Charlie horse. We'll do a quick walk around. Man, it's pretty sweet. I got a lot of hours in this thing. I mean, I got a lot of hours in it, but it doesn't break down, knock on wood, and it runs the trails pretty good. Got some big fat meat on it. Got that big 22 horse on it. Okay, so basically, we'll do a walk around. Silly things, okay? I got rid of the stock hood latch. I have these little cam type locks on here. Works a lot better. This doesn't pop up. Okay, we got obviously there's a Grant steering wheel on it. I made the mount. Some guys are doing the the ones you can take off, the removable. I mean, this thing's covered in mud. I had somebody make some decals for me. Some people think that's silly. Hood ornament. Let me back up. This is actually, just so everybody knows, this is a 1976 B80 originally. It did have an 8-speed in it, but it only had a 4-pinion 1-inch axle 8-speed in it when I got it. And I'm going to post some pictures of when I first got it. I'll throw in a couple pictures in between the videoing when I post this, and you'll see a couple pictures of things that I'm not going to pull apart, but things I've done. I got a Harbor Freight light on here. That thing's pretty sweet. Pull power. It's pretty bright. It does the job. like that. I got that on a switch. Speaking of the dash, I don't know if you can see it here. So I got your choke. Okay, this is a PTO switch off of a, I think a mid-90s like Lowe's Husky. So I don't have a key on this one. So that's off, push it in as off, kills it, and kills power. My light won't even work. Okay, so I just wired it up that way. You pull it on, okay, and it's push button start. If I wanted to start it, I'm not going to start it right now. You push it, it's off. We got the tethered kill switch, which a lot of the guys are required when you're racing or you're doing any kind of, well, I mean, that's basically it, racing type events. This is also a kill switch. I didn't like having to hold it. So when I hit this off, boom, it's done. It's done, it shuts down. Okay. You know, I got a hand throttle on there that I made. That's off a 2001 Harley Davidson Dyna Lowrider. My gas pedal, you see it pivots. Mine's a reverse pivot. Instead of trying to push like this, my foot is flat because I'm so tall. My foot sits flat anyway, so you just push down on it. It's a reverse pivot. My cable runs right there and up. Okay, I got some 19-inch 19 by 7 by 8 Sun Fs on the front. They're loaded with 3 gallons of fluid in each one, and I have tubes in them. I also built a protector, a stem protector. I like it, I don't like it. I'm going to build some rock rings. I think they look cool, plus they protect the stem. The tires on the back. These are TSL Super Swampers ATVs. They are 25 12.5 12s on 10-inch wide Kubota style rims. So they don't narrow the tire up as much as a stock rim. They're pretty fat. Okay. I've cut the hitch off the original position. I've raised it up. It actually sits above the trans now, so it doesn't drag. Rear bumper is custom. It's not custom, it's custom to this. It's actually a front bumper off that same 90s Husky. Obviously, ammo can painted. I keep tools and things in there. Toe strap, extra parts, pair of gloves, that kind of stuff. So this is mounted directly to the hitch pin. Okay, I do not run spacers. I have 0 spacers, wheel spacers, for this thing. Still got the tilt seat, but I have lowered it down. I drilled a hole, lowered it, both sides, and I've cut this, and I've put these springs in. I want a little bit of suspension, but I've cut it to be as low profile as I possibly can and still have a little bit of seat suspension. All right. On the front, custom mount for a Badland ZXR 3500 winch from Harbor Freight. That thing's an animal. It really is an animal. It pulls. It'll hang this tractor in a tree. And I've swapped out to synthetic. We got synthetic rope with the fair lead. I am going to build a bar. I got my, you can see it right there, my Harbor Freight pipe kinker right there. We'll see how well it works. And I'm going to build a bar, some kind of loop, comes around and just comes here, just to protect the handle and protect the wiring in the outside of the motor. So I'm going to do that. I got footboards that I made custom. They run all the way to the frame. Really strengthens it up. They originally were here. If anybody knows, I have a 3.5 inch stretch on this tractor, so I had to add these in because the tree will sneak in there and you'll be hooked. You know, battery's tight in there. Everything's tight. Everything's tight. I got a big 22 horse Kohler Command on there. That's custom. I made this. These covers I painted, and I had somebody make those decals for me. Okay. I got some pipe that I've put on the pedals. I know it seems weird, but I'm going to tell you what, that pipe on there, I have one on the other side too, the brake pedal. That makes that pedal, instead of that flat surface, that makes that pedal roll under your foot perfect. It really does. You should try it out. If you don't want to, don't do it. I don't care. It works perfect. It feels really good on your foot. Okay. I got a, well, let me pop the hood off this thing, and I'll pull the side cover off, and the rear wheel over here, and we'll get down and dirty into some things going on it. So that's my hood pin. I took off all the C-clips, drilled it. One side's got a regular cotter key, the other side's got a hairpin clip, right? So you can pop the hood off quickly. It's tight. Everything is tight. There it goes. So my light disconnects with a quick plug, so you can pull the hood off. I got all my, this is where the old fuel tank was originally. I got all my wiring. It's pretty clean. It's pretty clean. This is a controller to plug into the, if you need to be off the machine to run the winch. And this is your winch controller here with in and out over here. Okay. It's all pretty clean in there. It stays pretty clean. All right, so there's the Kohler Command 22. I took the air box off, okay, because the air box will hit the hood. That's a cake pan. That's an aluminum cake pan. That's a Captain 315 special right there. That was totally his idea, and I just stole it, made it work underneath there. It works super mint. You can see it barely fits under there still. Okay. I run a forward gas tank. This holds about 2.5 gallons of fuel. Everybody told me I was crazy. Oh, it's going to catch on fire. The motor's going to get too hot. None of it. None of it happens. And with that thing sitting up there, it's really, really a pretty sweet setup. Fuel line comes out the bottom. I made this particular mount for it. Fuel line comes through and runs right to the pump. I made this custom strap, just a pinch strap with a pinch bolt, welded around. Like I said, and I can fuel it with the hood up. It's tight, but I can fuel it. I like it up front. It works really well up there. Puts a little bit of weight over front, and I didn't have anywhere else to put a fuel tank. I just happened to have that. That's out of a mid-90s, that mid-90s Husky. I got it up in the weeds. It works really well. While we're in here, I got the underneath this metal mount here is a rubber muffler hanger. I have one on each side, and it allows your front end to flex once you set it with a little tension. Right, it allows it to flex, but not rattle down the, and you don't get them quick side to sides where you're going to tip it over. I also have a big John Deere swept axle, meaning the axle is swept forward. So my front wheels are swept forward from the original positions. It's actually a John Deere axle spun around backwards. It's got 1-inch spindles on them, so I have not reinforced them, and I haven't bent them. I put a cap, drilled them, and I put a cap washer, just in case the C-clip falls off. Then the spindle's not going to fall out. So I got that on both sides. I didn't like the way this was steering with the original drag links, or however you want to say it, on the spindles. So I custom made these ones. It was turning funny. And then my tie rods are off of a Honda TRX 90 four-wheeler, fully encased ball joint, and they run under there. They work pretty good. And you've probably seen this mod before. These two gussets here, they reinforce your triangle steering plate. Giver to Beans had bent his, I think, forward, and I put those on. I haven't bent mine at all, and it's held up pretty well. I like it. Come around. I'll pull the intake just because I want to show what I had to do to get this air cleaner to work. I'm not a big fan of cutting hoods. I have one hood that I cut as a test hood, and that is outside. So I've made this custom intake plate. That's all me. I made that so that basically I could kick that filter this way as far as I possibly could. Okay, I welded tabs to hold the air cleaner in place. Cut this down so it wouldn't hit the hood. On top of a aftermarket pumper carb. Okay. It gives you a little more snap on the beginning. That's an Amazon carb. I can't remember the numbers, but it is a mini pumper carb for this thing. It does really well on hills too. You don't get that dead spot. Put this on so I don't forget. If I don't put it on now, I'll totally forget. And I pushed this down because obviously it was a flat cake pan, and I pushed it down with my press. I dimpled it in order for my wing nut to sit flush, so it didn't hit the hood. This thing is super tight in here, super tight. Okay, I mean linkages, they're all hooked to the original linkage setup. Even the choke and everything is still hooked up to the original setup there. Choke cable, lights. So the throttle, there happened to be a spot where I could hook the hand throttle up to the original throttle, and then I hooked my pedal throttle up to the governor arm. You gotta know what you're doing when you do that, because you're basically bypassing the governor, but only when you step on the throttle, mash it to the floor. So anyways, don't blow them up. All right, this muffler is off of Amazon. It was cheap. It was like 20 bucks, and it sounds awesome. I mean, really good. Comes with a cone, comes with the springs. You can do it however you want. I put the springs on so I can pop this off. Everything I made was so that I can work on this thing and pull it apart just like you would anything else that you're racing and ramming around, and be able to put it back together and not take forever doing it. Okay, the exhaust does have exhaust wrap on there. I wrapped that. So this just had a little header tube sticking out about 1.5 inches. And I welded on. I don't know if you can see, that one comes around. That one comes around, okay? So I got a good almost 1.5 feet of pipe. And then the second one comes in, and they both dump into a single to still give it a little more length of pipe for that second cylinder. And this wraps around and then comes up into the exhaust. Every single one of these exhaust parts is cut off 2 old pressure washer frames. That's all it is. And I just happen to be able to work the angles, all the different pieces, welded them up. There's a lot of weld, and that's why I wrapped it. It's not ugly weld. It's just a lot of weld. So that's why I wrapped it, just because I liked it wrapped. Okay, I won't go over the pulley setup yet, because I'm actually going to pull this footboard off and this wheel here, and basically we can get a look at the clutch. I don't want this video to be too long, but I want some people to get some good information. So little hood bolt setup. Anyway, I run an 8-inch engine pulley. Okay, I run a 5-inch trans pulley. That is from Tractor Supply, 5/8 arbor, right? I've drilled it. They call that the Holy Pulley mod. That's Mr. Studebaker brainchild, and everybody's doing it. What it does is lets the water and things out these holes as the belt comes around. I've done it on both sides. If you do that, make sure that you clean up the inside really well so it doesn't eat your belt up. Okay, so from the engine, I got a guard on top. Okay, bolted here. My guards. I got a top guard, bottom guard, belt runs in there. It doesn't really touch either one. It's just a hair away from everything. Okay, comes around. It's tight at the top. Okay, it stays tight here because the bottom is the pull side, right? Is the tension side of the belt. So when I push my clutch in, my belt drops down and forward and allows the engine pulley to spin and the belt stop. That is key. That is key. If you don't do that, your clutch won't disengage. And my clutch, first gear low, I can crawl up a hill, push the clutch in, and I can roll backwards. A lot of guys can't do that. Okay, this right here, that's just a little, you see my pointer? I guess you can. Maybe I can put a little dab on. See that? Oh, what do we got? We'll put a little. There. I'm gonna get white paint all over it. So you don't want any of these guards touching your belt. Okay, even back here, you can see nothing touches. That's just a belt keeper. Okay, my belt was kicking off to the side. You got to figure out what's happening with this stuff, so that you can put belt guides, belt guards, whatever you got to do to keep that belt running where it needs to be. That right there is another belt guide, so the belt don't get too much slop, and there's another one there, so it don't get too much sideways in and out to come off the side of the pulley. That one, and that last one really is one of the ones that really cleaned this thing up, because I kept getting the belt would pop off up here somehow off the side, so it must have been sliding out. It doesn't do it anymore. Another big thing that I've figured out, I have a gap here. My guard doesn't go all the way around, so when I'm running this is running this way, counterclockwise, right, as you're looking at it, it spits the water and mud out and doesn't allow it to pack up inside here. It spits it straight out and keeps that pulley clean. I haven't had to drill that one, haven't had a problem with it. All right. Now, as it comes back, I got two idlers. These are heavy-duty, high-side idlers. They're like automotive idlers. This one obviously keeps the stuff, or keeps the belt up out of the mud, rocks, whatever. Okay. This one brings it down, and as Creepy Crawler would say, it allows your clutch arm, instead of running belt from here all the way up to here, 2.5 foot of belt, you're only actually operating now 6 inches of belt. You're pulling up against something. Okay, so your clutch is so much more predictable that way. You're not just got all this floppy, long piece of belt that you're trying to tighten up. Okay? We'll get into this stuff later. So as I come back from my idlers, these are just regular idlers, okay? That's a stock. That's not terrible. That's a stock type pulley. That's not the original. That was a used one though, and it's still pretty tight. Okay, I've welded an arm here with this extra pulley, and I'm going to show you how all this works at the end. Okay, this extra pulley gives the belt a little more tension here against your trans pulley. I think that's a Josh Theory idea, and I took it, and man, you want to talk about being able to predict where your clutch is going to engage, all that stuff. Oh God, this is a guide I put on the bottom to keep my belt from coming off the side, getting loose and dropping down loose when you're pushing the clutch in a lot of flop, and it keeps a lot of stuff, a lot of mud from coming up inside here, right? As you're hammering through, it'll hit here, and if it does get in here, it'll run down the, its pitch, it'll run down it, or the belt will shoot it up here and again carry it out the front. So this isn't a guide, that's a big washer close to that pulley that keeps the belt from jumping this way. Okay, it doesn't jump to the trans side, it just doesn't. I never had a problem with that, and I never ever drop a belt. I don't shred belts, I don't drop belts. I used to. And then this one is the same thing on the bottom, right? Because I was getting, when you push the clutch in, you get your belt loosening up, right? We'll push the clutch in. I'm actually going to lock the clutch in so you guys can see, so we can talk about all the things that I want to talk about. As I find a pair of vice grips. So I want you to watch what happens. Okay. Okay. So now I'm clutched. So what was happening is any loose belt here, right, would gap up back here and want to come off the side, but now it doesn't. So now, as you can see, that trans totally free, totally free. Nothing is getting in its way. That belt is not even touching it. Okay, like I said, belt dropped down into this guide because that's the tension side. So now this engine, I don't know if you can see that belt, is not moving at all. Okay, so both my belt termination points drop away from the pulley. They don't touch it. I don't get a grab. As we clutched, this brake stop, which is originally just a one-sided deal, I added this extra side for support across here because I was bending it. I cut off the original stop, which is on the inside of the cover. Okay, this stop and this stop come together to stop your belt. The reason I can shift so good is because mine, I've got a roll set. I got roller bearings there, and that's a stack of bearings. Okay, so they spin so that when my belt, when I jam on that clutch and this belt wants to, this stop wants to come against this stop, what I was finding is if it stops it dead when you're in a hard shift, one of these ends, the belt doesn't loose on both ends. It tightens here and pulls tight against this, and it's only loose up here. But what that does is it allows it to still kind of roll through there and slow the belt a little bit instead of that dead belt stop. If you don't have any of this in there, it won't shift right either. I'm not going to give measurements on where I installed all this stuff. I'm not doing any of that. That gets a little too crazy for what I want to get into. This guy here is just a boss to keep this belt from popping out of here so it doesn't get up and over this side. and then this keeps it in there. This guide are all adjustable. I haven't had to move them. So that's the belt system. I guess if you got any other questions, I can hopefully answer them. Like I said, I'm not going to go through this thing and start telling you how far away this is to that and that is to that. You know, I'm already opening up my store, so to speak, and I mean, I don't care. Most of the guys, everybody worries about my secrets, and not my secrets, but their secrets and things of that nature. I'm not worried about it. Let's see. So, with that, turn this light off. All right. If you watch one of my videos, I have a stretch in here. My stretch is another mount plate off the back of another wheel horse. I got a skid plate underneath there. Okay. I've had to stretch all the shifters. I made this plate custom so everything works. Okay, parking brake is still there. We had to, the brake linkage over here I had to stretch. Okay, and the clutch linkage I had to stretch. Okay, and that is a spring, that is an old trampoline spring, just one. Don't put a ton of springs on. It'll just start wearing shit out. Don't put a ton of springs on there. I got some support bars here from the tower to the center of the rig as top support so we don't get flex in that frame down there. And I also have this cross support because this tower was shifting side to side at the top when I was sitting on it really grinding hard. I know it's dirty. I haven't had a chance to clean it. You know, we got a battery stuffed in there. Wiring's clean. So that's that. You know, little things like hairpins so you can pop shit off quick. Okay? So you can pop stuff off quick, adjust it, do whatever you got to do. You know, get some brakes on your rig. I got brakes down there. Get some brakes on it. I can't think of anything else. Oh, you know, hubs. Get yourself some bolts. Put them all the way through, same size as the original lug. Put them all the way through. That way when you mount your wheel, you can put some actual truck lugs on there. It makes, when you throw the wheel back on, it makes it easier like a car basically. So you can chuck it on there and away you go. So, well, I got her apart. That's all right. I want to clean it up. So, I don't usually do outros, but I'm trying to. It's cold. My nose is running. So there it is. Now it's all tore apart, but I can clean it. It's been a money mess for a while. If anybody's got any other questions, I guess just ask. I'll do what I can. I hope that answers everybody's questions about clutch systems and whatever. My clutch system. I don't care what everybody else does. That's what I do. Mine works awesome. There was somebody asking me about how I shift so smooth. The clutch system. Also, when you're doing high speed, hard shifts, you got to try to get it in your head. So first to second on a wheel horse is usually a pretty easy shift. You don't get a lot of grinding if you got a semi-decent belt system set up. You will. Mine doesn't. First to second, I don't grind at all. Second to third, I might just get a little. You'll hear a little, just a touch of a tooth, but not bad. I mean, not bad to some guys. So I can be ripping full throttle across the yard. First to second, still full throttle. Second to third, and it's not terrible at all. The way I do the second to third, you got to remember, I am on the throttle, off. You know, the clutch is engaged as I'm ripping, and I basically in my head, not in my head, I pull it out of gear, and as I'm getting ready to go into third, that's when I push the clutch in. Does that make sense? So everything's spinning about the same speed, and that seems to work pretty good. It's hard to get used to do that, to get that mindset, because you want to push the clutch in and then shift all the way over. And I've tried everything. I'm lucky enough that I got separate clutch and brake. If you got a clutch brake, just a one-sided, it kind of sucks. You got to really adjust your stuff. But that's how I do it. Second to third with my clutch system. I pull it out of second, and as it's out of second, I'm pushing the clutch in to put it into third, and it seems to work well. A lot of people don't want to talk about they think they got all these secrets and stuff. I don't care. Copy it, don't copy it. I'm going to tell you right now, most of the people that want to do this, and it's no offense, you are not going to put the hours that I put into that rig. If you do, I commend you. I do. I've had that now for 3 years, and it has been, last summer was a lot of big moves. You can see a lot of my videos, the stretch and things of that nature. But I don't care. You know what? The guys that are going to build their stuff like this, or like some of the big guys, Creepy Crawler, Red Susie 02, Mr. Studebaker, Captain 315, all those guys, their rigs are bulletproof. I mean, they really are. You guys see us hammer out there. Again, I never drop a belt. I never shred a belt. That belt has been on there for, boy, I bet 8 months. I bet 8 months of hard riding. I mean, Good Evening Ranch ride, the Last Chance Qualifier ride at Tom's house. I'm going to leave it on there. I got a ride in March, April, May, and maybe June or July already set up, and that belt is primo. So anyway, take this how you want. Copy it, don't copy it. Most people, they won't put the time in. Like I said, that belt system has gone through, I think, 11 different versions. That's like number 11. So if you think that you're just going to look at my video and all of a sudden, bam, I got this awesome clutch system, you're wrong. Anyway, good luck.